Jai Sapadika Shri Guru Gaura Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya. Astatar Sita Shri Shivan Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya. Astatar Sita Shri Shivan Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class. Dandavat, Jai, Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. You know, when we say Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sagrajatam means his elder brother. So that refers to Sanatana Goswami. So we know. So many things to know right now. Haribol. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are in chapter 11, verse number 16. This is the Antya Lila, and we're beginning the second volume of the Antya Lila. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda.
Haribol. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, this chapter we're just beginning now is the passing of Haridas Thakur. Again, another kind of bittersweet sort of chapter. Text 16. Akadina Govinda Mahaprasadalanya Haridas Edite Kaila Anandita Hanya. One day, Govinda, the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went in great jubilation to deliver the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food to Haridas Thakur. Deki Haridas Thakura Karyache Shayana Manda Manda Karite Che Sakya Sankirtana. When Govinda came to Haridas, he saw that Haridas Thakur was lying on his back and chanting his rounds very slowly. Govinda kahe uta ashe karaha bhojana, Haridasa kahe aji kari mulangana. Please rise and take your Mahaprasadam, Govinda said. Haridas Thakur replied, today I shall observe fasting. Shankya kirtana pure nahi ke mate kaiva, Mahaprasada aniyacha ke mate upekshiva. Haridas Thakur continued to speak. I have not finished chanting my regular number of rounds. How then can I eat? This is very instructive for us. If I cannot finish my rounds in the day, then why shall I spend time eating and so on? But you have brought Mahaprasadam, and how can I neglect it? Atabali Mahaprasada Karila Vandana Akaranchalanya Tarakarila Bhakshana. Saying this, he offered prayers to the Mahaprasadam, took a little portion and ate it. Aradina Mahaprabhu Taratayila Shushtaha Haridasa Balitade Puchila. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Haridasa's place and inquired from him, Haridas, are you well? Now Mahaprabhu has come. Namaskara karite ho kaila nivedana, sharira shushta hoy mora, ashushta buddhimana. Haridas offered his obeisances to the Lord and replied, my body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well. So buddhi means intelligence and mana means mind. Prabhu kahe kon vyadi kahana nirjinaya, teho kahe shankya kirtanana puraya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further inquired from Haridas, can you ascertain what your disease is? Haridas Thakur replied, my disease is that I cannot complete my rounds. Prabhu kahe vridahaila shankya alpaka. Here Srila Prabhupada is saying in the if one cannot complete the fixed number of rounds he is assigned, he should be considered to be in a diseased condition of spiritual life. Srila Haridas Thakur is called Namacharya. Of course, we cannot imitate Haridas Thakur, but everyone must chant a prescribed number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have fixed 16 rounds as the minimum, so that the Westerners will not feel burdened. These 16 rounds must be chanted, and chanted loudly, so that one can hear himself and others. Prabhu kahe vridahaila shankya alpakara, siddha deha tumi sadhane agraha ke nirkara. Now that you've become old, the Lord said, you may reduce the number of rounds you chant daily. You are already liberated, and therefore you do not need to follow the regulated principles very strictly. Lokanistarite e tomara avatara, namera mahima loke karila prachara. Your role in this incarnation is to deliver the people in general. You have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name in this world. Mahaprabhu is saying, you are Namacharya and you have shown everyone what it is to chant the holy name of the Lord. You don't need to be so rigorous now. Epe alpa shankya karikara sankirtana, Haridasa kahe shunamora satya nivedana. The Lord concluded, now therefore please reduce the fixed number of rounds you chant, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Haridas Thakur replied, kindly hear my real plea. Hina jati janma mora nindya kalevara, hina karme rata muni adama pamara. I was born in an inferior family, and my body is most abominable. I always engage in low work. Therefore, I am the lowest, most condemned of men. Adrishya aprishya more angikara kaila, Raudava haite kadi more vaikunte chadaila. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. That means that you have delivered me from a hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. Swatantra Ishwara tumi hao icha maya, Jagat na chao jare jaiche icha haya. My dear Lord, you are the fully independent personality of Godhead. You act by your own free will. You cause the whole world to dance and act as you like.
Who's saying that?
Haridas Thakur is saying that to Mahaprabhu. Aneka nachaila more prasada kariya, viprera shraddha patra kainum lechanya. My dear Lord, by your mercy, You have made me dance in many ways. For example, I was offered the Shraddha Patra, which should have been offered to a first-class Brahmin. I ate from it, even though I was born in a family of meat eaters. Purport: Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhasya quotes from the Vishnu Smriti in reference to the Shraddha Patra. What Haridas Thakur is referring to, this is one pastime that happened before with regards to Advaita Prabhu. Brahmana prasada hyete katitaha panki dushakaha etam vivarjaye yat nat shraddha karmani pandita. According to this verse, if one is born in a Brahmin family but does not behave according to Brahminical standards, he should not be offered the Shraddha Patra, which is prasadam offered to the forefathers. Advaita Acharya offered the Shraddha Patra to Haridas Thakur, not to a Brahmin who had been born in a Brahmin family. Although Haridas Thakur was born in the family of meat eaters, because he was an advanced devotee, he was shown more respect than a first-class Brahmin. So for us in the West, this is not so astonishing. But for those who are conversant with Vedic rules and regulations, this is extremely revolutionary. But it is completely corroborated in the scriptures. That if one is an actual Vaishnava, a really bona fide Vaishnava, then he has already reached the conclusion of being a Brahmin is supposed to come to. Being a Brahmin is just a very good position whereby one can become a Vaishnava. But if one does not become a Vaishnava, then it's been useless. So one who is already a Vaishnava is already higher than a Brahmin. Akavancha hai mora bahudina haite lila samvari betumilaya mora chite. I have had one desire for a long time. Haridas Thakur is continuing. I think that quite soon, my Lord, you will bring to a close your pastimes within this material world. Se lila prabhu more kabuna ke dekaiba apanara age mora sharira padiba. I wish that you would not show me this closing chapter of your pastimes. Before that time comes, kindly let my body fall down in your presence. I do not want to see the pastime of you leaving this world. But let me leave first. This is my petition. Hridaye darimu tomar kamala charana, naine dekimu tomar chanda vadana. I wish to catch your lotus feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. Jivaya ucharimu tomara Krishna Chaitanya nama, e matamora icha chadimu parana. With my tongue I shall chant your holy name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up this body in this way. Mora e icha jadi tomara prasade haya, e nivedana mora kara doya moy. O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy this is possible, kindly grant my desire. E nicha deha mora padukatava age, e vancha siddhi mora tomate ilage. Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires. Prabhu kahe Haridas je tumi magibe, Krishna kripa moy taha avasya karibe. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want. Kintu amara ke kichu shuka shabato malanya, tomara yogya nahe jabe amare chadiya. Do you need something? No. But whatever happiness is mine, it is all due to your association. It is not fitting for you to go away and leave me behind. So Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur is saying, it is not, you are so merciful. You should not leave and leave me behind here in this world. All my happiness is due to your association, so how will I be able to bear that separation? Charane dari kahe haridasana kari hamaya, avasya mo adame prabhu kara ehidaya. Catching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, do not create an illusion. Although I am so fallen, you must certainly show me this mercy. Mora shiro mani kata kata mahashai, tomara lilara sahai koti bhaktahai. My dear Lord, there are so many respectable personalities, millions of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. They are all helpful in your pastimes. Amahena jadi akakita marigela, akapipilika maile, Prithvira kahanam haila. My Lord, if an insignificant insect like me dies, what is the loss? If an ant dies, where is the loss to the material world? He's saying you have so many exalted associates who are really helpful in your pastimes. So what is the loss if I leave? They are all fit to sit on my head. Bhakata vatsala prabhu tumi mui bhaktavasa, abhasya purabe prabhu mora ayasha. My Lord, you are always affectionate to your devotees. I am just an imitation devotee, but nevertheless I wish that you may fulfill my desire. That is my expectation. Majjana karite prabhu chalila apane, Ishvara dekhiya kali dibena darashane. Because he had to perform his noon duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up to leave, but it was settled that the following day, after he saw Lord Jagannath, he would return to visit Haridas Thakur. So these are great personalities who can just simply leave their bodies when they wish to. So Haridas is saying, I want to go now, before you leave, and leave me behind here. So it was settled. So the darkness of death is not there in the Vaishnava. He has no, Guru Maharaj said, to fear death is to be an animal. Has animal consciousness. So we have to come to that plane of consciousness where this body is not we do not mistake that my life is dependent on my body. Rather, my body is dependent upon my being in it. Tabe Mahaprabhu tare kariya lingana, majjahna karite samudre karilagamana. After embracing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to perform his noon duties and went to the sea to take his bath. Pratakale Ishwara deki shababhaktalanya, Haridase dekite aila shigra karila. The next morning, after visiting the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all his devotees, went hastily to see Haridas Thakur. Haridasera age ashidila darashana, Haridasa Bandila Prabhura Ara Vaishnava Charana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees came before Haridas Thakur, who offered his respects to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to all the Vaishnavas. This is such a wonderful thing to contemplate, because it is due to ego. Ego means I am the enjoyer. It is due to ego that we have fear, because we are misidentifying with something temporary. We are misidentifying with illusion, actually. And that is causing fear for us. But those who have no such ego, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroi Vasishnuna, he's left behind these things that seem so concrete and substantial. He's leaving them behind one after another. And his fear, he's becoming very independent. His fear is not at all, he's not afraid of any situation, because his dependency is fully on the Lord's will, and that is always there. Whatever the Lord wants is actually always there. There's no fear that that's not going to happen. So sometimes people accumulate some strength, and then they feel fearless for a few minutes. That is very unstable. Prabhu kahe Haridasa kaha samachara, Haridasa kahe Prabhu jai kripa tomara. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, my dear Haridas, what is the news? Haridas Thakur replied, my Lord, whatever mercy you can bestow upon me. So that's the news. And that's a very common expression in India. People will meet each other and say, what's the news? But what Haridas Thakur is saying is the news is, whatever mercy you are giving, that's the news. Angane arambila prabhu maha sankirtana, vakreshwara pandita taha karina nartana. Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the courtyard. Vakreshwar Pandit was the chief dancer. Swarupa Gosaya Adijata Prabhu Ragana Haridase Bedi Kare Nama Sankirtana. So Beda means surrounding. Headed by Swarup Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridas Thakur and began congregational chanting. Ramananda Sarvabhauma Sabhara Agrete Haridaset Guna Prabhu Lagila Kahite. In front of all the great devotees like Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe the holy attributes of Haridas Thakur. Haridaser Guna Kahite Prabhu Haila Panchamukha Kahite Kahite Prabhu Rabade Mahasukha. As he described the transcendental attributes of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seemed to possess 5 mouths. The more he described, the more his great happiness increased. So Mahaprabhu's happiness is increasing more and more and more by hearing the glorious transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur. This is very astonishing. But it is true that the Lord's happiness increases by the wonderful seeing the wonderful qualities of the devotees. Haridasera gune sabara bishmita hayamana sarva bhakta vande haridasera charana. After hearing of the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur, all of the devotees present were struck with wonder. They all offered their respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridasa nigagrete prabhure bashaila nija netra dui bringa mukha padme dila Haridas Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes like two bumblebees on the lotus on the lotus face of the Lord. So I'm going to stop this reading here, and we'll begin again with that verse tomorrow, regarding the passing of Haridas Thakur.
It sounds like the passing of Haridas Thakur, sounds like he's leaving his body.
Yeah.
Oh, he's leaving his body?
Yeah. Because that when he said, "Let me tell you my real," saying, "What, are you okay?" "No, I can't finish my job." He said, "No, you don't have to have so much strictness there." Of course, Haridas Thakur's strictness is in his divine love. But then Haridas Thakur says, "Let me tell you my real petition. What is really troubling me for a long time. I do not want to see your pastimes of leaving the world. I don't want, you are very merciful, even though I'm the worst. But let this body fall down in front of you, and my eyes will see your beautiful, sweet face. And let me go before you do. Otherwise you will leave me behind, and you are the only source of mercy. You're so merciful to me." Like this. These are transcendental exchanges. And so Mahaprabhu said, "Okay, I'll come tomorrow." Every time we think of death, we must think of these kind of Vaishnavas. There are other stories also like this, of the passing away of Bhishma Dev on the battlefield. He had a benediction from his father that he would be able to leave his body whenever he wanted to. And he waited for Krishna to come. And then he was giving all these instructions to Yudhishthira. And then Krishna came, and then the hour that he wanted to leave came, and he turned his face like to the face of Krishna and began offering all these prayers. But the passing of Haridas Thakur, that is also in the presence of Mahaprabhu and in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Anyway, these are like a little bit finer even. Although we hear that Bhishma Dev is also wandering in the forests of Navadvip. Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki jai. Srila Om Vishnu Pade Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. So now we get to continue to read what Srila Guru Maharaj is so much praising in Upadesamrta in this chapter. The gradations, the Sambandha Gyan, a treatise of Srila Sanatana Goswami, which is Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So we can understand clearly what we're doing and what is what. We have to apply our consciousness to understand all these things as much as possible. Jai Shri Brihad Bhagavatamrita ki Jai, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad ki Jai. Now we are on page 351 of this book, if anyone has it, and this is the first volume of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita on the journey of Narada Muni. Okay, text number 83. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guvarga ki Jai.
Jai. Didi, could you please repeat the chapter where we're at?
Oh, this is the chapter called The Devotee, and it's chapter 4.
Thank you.
Okay. Text 83. Nunang re pandava mantram ausadam vata kinchana Lokotarang vijanidve mahamohanamohanam. You Pandavas must know some transcendental herb or mantra that it can enchant the most powerful enchanter. So I'm going to go back 2 verses here. Verse 81. Sri Hanuman said, all the calamities that befell the Pandavas were most auspicious and desirable. Again, what is calamity? What is death? For the Vaishnavas, it's all like wonderful. So all the calamities means disasters. All the calamities that befell the Pandavas were most auspicious and desirable, because those calamities made the personality of Godhead anxious to join the Pandavas quickly. And then from here, this next verse, from 82, Hanuman is actually offering, you could say, prayers to the Pandavas. Oh Pandavas, pure love has subdued you. Pure love has subdued you. Actually, nobody can defeat the Pandavas in battle. No one. Even the demigods were defeated by the Pandavas, the Gandharvas. So, but pure love has subdued you. Ignoring the discrimination and etiquette, you engage my Lord as your messenger and charioteer. You Pandavas must know some transcendental herb or mantra that can enchant the most powerful enchanter. Right? Of course, transcendental always refers to devotion. Commentary, because the Pandavas are under the sway of prema, they can be excused for transgressing. On the other hand, because the Pandavas are under the sway of prema, they can be excused for transgressing reason and etiquette. But why does the personality of Godhead agree to be dealt with so lightly? Hanuman surmises that the brothers must know some magic that can hypnotize the Lord. Krishna is the supreme magician, the enchanter of everyone else, so whatever can enchant him must be extraordinary. No such magic herb or mantra is to be found anywhere in this world, or in any world. The real identity of this magic will be revealed by Hanuman in text 85. Krishna is chanted only by the perfect love of his intimate devotee. So no such transcendental mantra. So he's saying no such magic herb or mantras to be found anywhere in this world. And of course, mundane magic cannot have any effect on the Lord. But this is something different. Utyuktva Hanuman Mata Pandaveya Yasasvini Utplotyot Plutya Manina Muho Nrityati Bhakticha. Parikshit Maharaj said, "O mother." So to remember, this whole thing is being related by King Parikshit to his mother. Also at the time of his death. And she's not lamenting, and he's not lamenting. They're just listening to this. O mother, O celebrated wife of the son of the Pandavas. After Hanuman said this, he repeatedly jumped up in the air, higher and higher, joining sage Narada in dancing. He then continued to speak. Commentary, when pure devotees are glorified, everyone in relation to them is glorified, including their families and disciples. Uttara, to whom Parikshit is speaking, is both his mother and the wife of Abhimanyu, who is referred to here as Pandaveya, because he was the son of Arjuna and Subhadra. Thus Srimati Uttara shared in the Pandavas' glory by marriage and by being Parikshit's mother. Aho Mahaprabho Bhakta Vatsalya Vada Nirjita Karosyevam api Shriya Chitta Karshaka Chestita. O Master of all masters, You are conquered by your great affection for your devotees. This is how you attract their hearts. O Master of all masters, you are conquered by your great affection for your devotees. This is how you attract their hearts. And now Hanuman is addressing Krishna. You are the Lord of the lords of the universe, but you become a chariot driver and order carrier for the Pandavas. This is certainly possible because your love for your devotees makes you its slave. You become the slave of your own love. Having lost your independence, you're forced to do whatever your devotees want. So we're now praising. You see, Hanuman is in Dasi Ras. He will never engage Ramachandra as his chariot driver. This is not possible for him because his mood, his feeling is servant. But the Pandavas' feeling is deeper. They think Krishna as their friend. And that's a deeper kind of love, actually, that Sanatana goes through. And Hanuman is praising that. This deeper kind of love is more intimate. And so, like your friend, you might say, oh, let's do this, or can you do that, or, there's a different kind of interaction. And Hanuman is seeing that and completely wonderstruck by that. And he can see, this is so wonderful, that their love for him is so much that Krishna is like, he's just running around like a friend, doing this, and then they're doing that, and he's doing that, like they're equal. So this is a very mysterious and wonderful truth in the relationships of Krishna with his devotees. On various occasions, the personality of Godhead has admitted his dependence on his devotees. For example, he once confessed to Durvasa Muni, Aham bhakta paradino hyasvantantra iva dvija sarubhya grasta hridayo bhakta jana priya. This is a very famous verse. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent, because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit only within the core of their hearts. What to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. This was spoken to the Lord, to Durvasa Muni, with regard to Maharaj Ambarish, who Durvasa cursed. But doesn't the Lord's loss of independence pain the hearts of the devotees who love him? No, everything the personality of Godhead does attracts the devotees' hearts, which he fills with pleasure. He acts only for the satisfaction of his devotees and is always careful to avoid causing them anxiety. In the Lord's own words cited above, he is Bhakta Jana Priya, affectionately concerned for the happiness of his devotees. But these are devotees. In other words, they're not serving him so that he's going to serve them. They have no material desire. That kind of pure heart, Krishna is so attracted to that. So attracted. So this can't be faked. This is a real thing. Do you follow?
What cannot be faked?
You see, when Krishna is when they're saying Krishna is attracted by the hearts of these great devotees who have no desire for themselves at all. He's so attracted by that. But no one can utilize Krishna in their service and be called an actual devotee. so this is a very deep thing. It's a very substantial thing. It is in other words, right from the very, very beginning, we are taught, do not approach the Lord with material desires. So how is it that they're giving Krishna orders? Krishna, you have to, please drive my chariot. This is all in deep, deep connection of friendship. It has no material desire in it at all. So this is like, we need to know really carefully what is that substantial position of devotion. Do you follow? Because we're living in a plane where everything is tinged with mundane desire. But that is not there. That doesn't exist there. So it's like a reflection of friendship in this world, which is actually exploiting each other. But this is that thing in its original glory, which has no exploitation in it at all. Anyway, I don't want to make it complicated, but it's just striking me very much. The Vaishnavas are more happy to see Krishna driving Arjuna's chariot and treating Yudhishthira with respect, because these exchanges of love between Krishna and the Pandavas glorify both the Lord and the servants he chooses to serve. Like an attentive parent, the Supreme Lord constantly fosters his devotees' spiritual development by everything he does. Although fit to annihilate all the Dandavas within a few minutes, I perform various pastimes just to entertain my devotees. Just as the fish, the tortoise, and the bird nourish their offspring by respectively watching them, meditating on them, and keeping them in physical contact, so do I maintain my devotees, O lotus-born Brahma. And this is from the Padma Purana. Any questions? Mamapi paramam bhagyam partanam te shumajamaha bhimasheno mama brata kaniyam vayasa priyaha. It is my greatest fortune that Pritha's middle son, Bhimsen, is also my dear younger brother. Hanuman is saying this. So how is Bhimsen, who is one of the 5 Pandavas, the brother of Hanuman? Does anyone know? But he is. Because Bhimsen, his father, is Vayu, the wind, the lord of wind, very powerful. And that's why Bhima is so powerful, and so is Hanuman. But Hanuman's father is also Vayu, but they have different mothers. So he's saying, it's my good fortune that Bhimsen is actually my younger brother. Hanuman has just finished describing himself as unfortunate, but by speaking about the Pandavas, he now considers himself transformed into a most fortunate person. He praises his own good fortune, remembering that he and Bhima are both sons of the wind god. Any questions about that? Svashri danadi sakyena yasam yaganukampitaha tena tyasya Arjunasyapi priyo madrupanandvajaha. Lord Krishna acts of friendship by giving his sister in marriage to the Pandava Arjun, showed Arjun's full mercy. And that showed Arjun full mercy. And that Arjun bears my image on the treasured flag. And that Arjun bears my image on the treasured flag of his chariot. So we're on the battle of Kurukshetra, on the battlefield. They were always, Yudhishthira and the others were thinking, where is Arjun? Where is Arjun? But they saw that they could see Arjun's flag going here and there and here and there. And Hanuman, the picture of Hanuman is on that flag, and Hanuman is roaring on the battlefield. They could hear Hanuman roaring. He's on the flag, and Arjun going everywhere and everywhere, and nobody can, they would turn this way and Arjun would be there, and then they turn this way and Arjun would still be in front of them. And Hanuman's, this is on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which happened right after the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. It's really quite wonderful. Prayo priyatamanam tu prasadam padamam bina nasityati priya seva dashanam na palatyapi. Without the unconditioned mercy of the Lord's most beloved friends, a devotee's loving service can never succeed or bear fruit. Let me read that again. Without the unconditional mercy of the Lord's most beloved friends, a devotee's loving service can never succeed or bear fruit. By now, Hanuman's ecstasy and unalloyed prema has awakened to such an extent that he feels stirred to go and see the Pandavas at once. And he is about to propose to Narada just that. One can never become a recognized servant of the Lord. In other words, one can never enter the rasa of servitude or dasya without the blessings of perfect devotees like the Pandavas. Even if one externally makes a show of such service, one will not reap the fruit of satisfying Krishna and enjoying transcendental ecstasy. Pure devotional service proceeds completely under the authority of the Lord's beloved devotees. Always, always, always. And I've said this so many times, I know this, but it struck me. I was quite young when I heard Srila Prabhupada saying it on a tape. I was 22. Jai Mahaprabhu. And I remember very, very clearly, Jai Giraju. I remember very, very clearly where I was and everything. And Guru and Srila Prabhupada said, without the association of higher devotees, then again karmi, again demon. So we must keep up association with those who will help us go upward, because they are in a senior position, higher position. I'm not talking about senior in terms of age or anything like that, but their position, their perspective, their devotion, their sacrifice, their Siddhantic understanding, all these things are higher than mine. So I want to keep their association. So even Hanuman, who is firmly situated in Dasya Ras, and is the emblem of Dasya Ras, fully, he is saying, it is only by the grace of those higher devotees, the Pandavas, that I am so fortunate in my getting some service to Ramachandra. So, the next verse. Tasmad Bhagavata Shrestha Prabhu Priyatamochitam Tatrano Gamanam Te Sang Darshana Shrayane Tata. Therefore, O best of Vaishnavas, most dear devotee of the Lord, let us go together to see the Pandavas and take shelter of them. So this is Hanuman speaking to Narada. Yes, let's go, let's go. And they're all jumping in the air. They're both up in the air, embracing each other and dancing. They're in the sky. As of course, we know Hanuman can also move in the sky like Narada. Hanuman's words indicate that he considers Narada as blessed as the Pandavas in receiving Lord Krishna's favor. Since both Hanuman and Narada are servants in the Dasya mood, it is entirely fitting for them to visit the Pandavas at their residence and even stay with them to learn more about devotional service. Apart from being fit to see the Pandavas, Hanuman and Narada should be able to receive from them spiritual mercy by rendering such services as standing guard for them at night. That's the other thing. If we want higher association, we must be in the mood of service also. Ayodhyayam tananim tu prabhuna vishkritam nayat maturaika prasade se maturaika pradeshe tad dwarakayam pradarshinam padamaishvarya madhurya vaichityam vrindasoduna brahmarudradidushkarkyam bhakta bhakti vivardhanam. Never in Ayodhya did the Lord disclose what he now reveals in the district of Mathura, known as Dwarka. Countless varieties of supreme opulence and sweetness, one after another, which Brahma, Rudra, and other demigods can hardly fathom. These glories expand the love of his devotees. So when we think of glories and opulences and everything, we're thinking of objects of the senses. But these are transcendental manifestations of divine love. These are transcendental things. And no one in the mundane world can even begin to fathom. Fathom means to find out how deep something is. But they cannot fathom that. They cannot find out the depth of that. So in the purport, we have this many verses spoken by a demon named Madhu. And when Madhu went into Dwarka, during the ancient time when the Madhu demon ruled Mathura, that kingdom extended all the way to the Western Ocean and included the region of Dwarka. And the Harivamsa confirms this in the words of Madhu himself, spoken to the son-in-law of Vikradu. Welcome, dear boy, Haryashva. I'm happy to see you. Let me give you this, my entire kingdom. Except for the Madhuvan forest, please agree to live here and rule this splendid kingdom. Graced by the shores of the ocean, it is rich with cows and people, mostly by Abira cowherds. During your stay here in the district of Saurashtra, there will come to be a great mountain fortress, fit for the residence of kings and unequaled by any other royal estate. Your vast kingdom will be called Anarta. Sometimes, of course, the land of Mathura is measured as being smaller, and there's so on. There's some description. Sri Narada Uvacha Akim Uktam Ayodhyayam Iti Vaikunthanopina Utishta Utishta Tatra Gachava Satvaram Sakhe. Sri Narada said, what are you saying? Something unseen in Ayodhya? It is not seen even in Vaikuntha. Get up, my friend. We should go there at once. She's saying, the Ayodhya, these are all, Ayodhya is above Vaikuntha. It is an inconceivable place. But he's saying more than Ayodhya is Dwarka. Let's go. Shri Parikshuruvacha Atakshanam Vivasha Nishashvasa Hanuman Dairya Sagara Jagara Naradam Natva Kshanam Hridhi Vimrishyasa. Shri Parikshit said, Hanuman, the ocean of sobriety, then sighed for a moment. And after a brief time in thought, he bowed down to Narada and spoke. So they're ready to go. And now Hanuman is sighing. And now he's going to sing. Shri Hanuman Uvacha Shriman Mahaprabhostasya Prishtanam api sarvata tattadarshana sevartang pranayang yukta evanaha. Sri Hanuman said, certainly it would be fitting for us to visit Dwarka to see the Pandavas and offer them service, for they are in all respects most dear to the personality of Godhead and his consort. Kintu tena duna shrad Kintu tena duna jashrang mahakarunya madhuri yata praka syamanaste gambira purvatodika. But the Lord is now displaying uncommonly intense mercy and sweetness, more confidential than anything he has ever shown before. Vichitra lila banga cha, bangi cha, tata paramamohini, muninam apyabhigyanam, yaya syat paramo brahma. Those wonderful playful pastimes are so supremely enchanting that they bewilder even the self-realized sages. So Hanuman, in the mood of servitude, he feels that this is too high for him. I feel like, because his heart is in the serving mood, in the mood of course the serving mood is throughout everything, but it is very much as a servant. And he's thinking, oh, these are so many intimate pastimes are going on there. I feel like I'm going to make a fence there. I feel it is not a good place for me. Aho bhava disham tato jato loka pitamaha veda pravartakar charyo mohang brahma pyavindita. Just see, even your father, Brahma, grandfather of the world, founder Acharya of the Vedic teachings, was confused by the pastimes of Krishna. So he's a great Acharya of the world, and yet he was bewildered to see Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, which is also part of Mathura Mando, which includes Dwarka. Varnanam abudi Vanaranam abudinam madrisham tatra kakata pestitvam apitadvritam tadvishanke paradataha. So what can be said about foolish forest monkeys like me? Because of how strangely Krishna's pastimes unfold, as you also know, I am afraid of committing offenses. Astam vananya bhavanam dashanam paramagati prabhu vichitra lilaiva prema bhakti vivardini. Let the wonderfully varied pastimes of the Lord be the very life of his servants who think of nothing but him. For such devotees, those pastimes always increase the ecstasy of love of Godhead. To remember the pastimes of the personality of Godhead is not only his devotees' gati, the aim of all their endeavors, but it is paramagati, their only resort and protection from all dangers. So he's saying, he's considering them the devotees. Let them be in those pastimes. They're fully protected by those pastimes. There's no danger for them, but he's considering himself less than that. He said, but I am not so qualified. Very exemplary. And Srila Guru Maharaj is quoting this verse that Dasayame Rishastu Rishastu Nityam Sakyayame Namastu Namastu Satyam. So I am worshipping that higher friendship, Sakya, Sakyayame. I am worshipping that, but I am considering myself a servant. Dasi I am the servant. This is how I always think of myself. But this, I am worshipping those higher devotees who are who have friendly relationship with the Lord. They are so high, but I worship that. I worship that. But that is not my position, and that is what Hanuman's thinking. They are so high, they can freely mix with the Lord. They are fully protected in the highness of their devotion. And their position of devotion is protecting them from any offense. They don't have any offense. That is the exalted nature of their devotion, that they can deal with him in so many friendly ways. But I am a servant. And Guru Maharaj said we must always think this way. And then if some higher kind of service will come, it will come. But we will not try to climb up. We will always consider ourselves. And of course now we are anartha nivritti stage. We're trying to take shelter of the Lord, who is trying to remove all of our anarthas, our unwanted qualities. So, but these are all really instructive things. Are there any questions about any of this? Is it clear? Fairly clear.
Not very clear.
But no, not a particular question. So say you walk in, you're a great servant of the king. You really love the king, you're completely dedicated to serving him. And you walk in where the king is with his friends, right? And they're all hanging out and they're saying, gee, I'm not sure I like that shirt. Like they're talking with him in a very intimate way. They're saying, well, you gotta eat a little less bread there, Fred, you got a big, they're very intimate with him. So the servant becomes a little bit nervous. He doesn't want to act like that around the king. He doesn't have that relationship. That's a deeper relationship. And the friends, if they come in where the king is with his family, they also may feel a little shy, because that's a more intimate relationship. So these are gradations of intimacy, but it is born of the deeper quality of surrender in the devotee. It is more exalted, actually. So Hanuman's thinking, oh no, I'm shy to go around the Pandavas. I want to worship them from a distance. I'm shy to go there. I might do something wrong. Do you follow? This is his expression of his heart. It is not he doesn't feel bad. It's not like he's feeling bad about it. He doesn't want that relationship. He's actually so content in his feelings of Dasiras. He doesn't feel that there's anything more that he wants. But he's still worshiping those who are more intimately connected. So this is a very big principle. That those who are firmly situated in a particular rasa, they do not desire anything else. They're very happily situated there, deeply. But they may look up and say, oh, this is so sweet to see that Krishna is just running around with his friends. They love to see that, but they don't aspire for that relationship. But they can worship that. They say, no, I shouldn't. I don't want to go there where they're so, I'm going to be bewildered, I won't know what to do. So these are Hanuman's feelings. So this is Sambandha Gyan. These fine points are being given by Sanatana Goswami. And they're all above us.
I have a question. All these devotees that have a deep relationship with the Lord.
A what?
to have a deep relationship with the Lord. Did it take time to them to get there, or it was always like that?
There's two different groups. One, someone who has come to the mundane plane and has purified himself by great high devotees' grace and come to the plane of that devotee. Whose grace we are getting, we will go to that position. So we are in the Rupa Nuga line. So this is not conceivable. Hardly conceivable even in this, so that is the case. And as we've heard, as we were hearing before in the Upadesamrta, that there is good, and someone may come to that high plane and go and join in the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan, when he's showing his pastimes in the material world, and then be firmly situated. Are you hearing that? That can happen, but others have never come to this plane. They're eternally Krishna's servants, and they're not. And some of them are not even. They've never even come from the Tatastha, like the Braja Gopis, who are the principal Gopi friends of Radharani. They're not Jiva souls. They're expansions of the Swarup Shakti. But it doesn't make any difference once the position is attained. That's on the eternal platform. But both of those things can be. Is that clear? But Hanuman is an eternal servant of Ramachandra. Jai Shri Brihad Bhagavatamrita ki Jai, Shri Sanatana Goswami ki Jai, Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Oh, we went over. So in the second volume, we will see the journey of Gopakumar, coming from this prapancha, from this universe, and gradual gradations up to the plane of Vrindavan. Did you hear that? So to answer your question more, in the second volume of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we see how Gopakumar, who is an ordinary cowherd boy, just living in the world, herding cows, and how by connection with a great soul, he made his journey upward to Vrindavan. But once he's in Vrindavan, it's not that he doesn't even remember his mundane plane. He may, because he was telling me the story, but what I'm saying is, it's not that he's less. He's fully a cowherd boy, fully embraced by Krishna, and both Krishna and he are fainting. And then all of a sudden he knows his name, he knows his place, he goes and eats in the house of Mother Yashoda. All these things happen. But there's a gradation of his progress to that point that shows different levels of progress of the consciousness in the conscious plane. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. repeat that verse just because I got lost and I couldn't remember the second line. Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai. Namacharya
Srila Haridas Thakur Ki
Jai.
Jai. Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Man Mahaprabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Tadiya
Jai.
Saka Mat Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam
Jai.
Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nittai Gauranga Hari.
Jai.
Jai. Gurudev Ki Jai.
Jai Bhakti Krishna Prabhu Ki
Jai.
Kunkundevi Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Haribo.
And then a devotee name Jai Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Kyo and Bhakti Mboni.
Jai.
Namaskar. Jai.
Happy to have you here with us in our morning class.